And this is the thing that I suppose that we forget about. We live on the nasty bits and, you know, the sharp end of it or whatever. But it was really important to a lot of people in Manchester who spent their lives there, you know. And I think that was it. And ever since this idea came about, we talked about it, and then Gary suggested that we get Pete and Ben to do it, and I thought it was brilliant because then they could come in late and over budget. Only joking.
It's got to be authentic, hasn't it?
Of course, yeah. There'd be no point if it wasn't, would it? And that was it. And these two agreed with relish, I think.
Gary came to me because he and I had worked on a project a year ago, an Adidas project a year ago. It was deja vu of the club. I said, I think we need Ben. Because really, Ben, you know, it's a three-dimensional object, and it's going to quote the look of the club. So Ben has to do it. I mean, it's actually coming out on the, you know, on the Y3 brand within the kind of Adidas, the kind of universe of Adidas. So, and Y3 is Yoji's kind of project, partner project with Adidas, and.
You work with Yoji, don't you?
Yeah, well, that's the odd thing. By the mid-80s, when I kind of had to make a concerted effort to move out of working just, you know, within music and with record covers, I was like 30. There were two things that happened. The first client was Nick Sirota from the Tate, then at the Whitechapel, and he thought I might be able to do something. And soon after that, I met a man called Mark Astley through Nick Knight, photographer. I met Mark Astley, who worked for Yoji, and by '86, I was working on projects for Yoji, and and through till the early '90s. And I would never, ever, ever, ever have imagined that something would come up 20 years later.
Tie the two together.
Where Factory, the Hacienda, New Order, Ben, and Yoji Yamamoto would, well, even without me involved, there would ever be some sort of convergence point. With Yoji, Miranda, you would just do it, and you would say, Yoji, do you want to talk about it? And he'd say, no. He said, I'm tired, I'm going back to Tokyo. And he'd leave the room, and he'd turn and say, surprise me. And he'd fuck off. And there would be nothing to go off. So we did, I mean, Mark Astley coped with it for years, and then after Mark, he and Yoji fell out, and I had 2 or 3 seasons on my own with Yoji. And that was the brief, surprise me. No discussion at all.
That's fantastic, isn't it?
And this guy then goes to the other side of the world. And time as well, you know, that whole kind of day, feel of a day difference. And then you would have to send things to Yoji.
Oh, come on,
but if he didn't like it, no, but whilst waiting for the tea, if he didn't like it, the one problem was that if he didn't like it,
you're screwed.
You couldn't do it.
This is tea.
Oh yeah, thanks.
You want coffee?
But
sorry, do you want tea though?
No coffee.
No.
Lawrence, can I have a sugar, please? Can I have some sugar, please?
Coffee, half a sugar, please.
But Miranda,
not
because
much milk.
Because he was Japanese and because he invited you to express yourself, he couldn't say that he didn't like it, because that would be dishonourable.
Yeah.
And you had done what you felt, so the fact that he didn't like it was irrelevant. You'd done what you felt, but if he didn't like it, they couldn't go ahead with it. So it was kind of like looking for the right needle in a haystack. But once you found something that he did like, it didn't matter whether the rest of the company
hated it,
didn't understand it or hated it or were afraid of it. Yoji would say, this is what we're doing, and we did it.